Hello everyone and welcome in for round 2 action of the 2025 Shelly Sharpe Memorial. It is moving day here at Vista del Camino Park, and there's your leader in Anthony Barela, coming out strong with an 8 under round. Joining him will be 3 new faces to the card: Drew Gibson, Codi Wood, and Grobman. The leaderboard is very jam-packed towards the top. We have Adam Hammis, Connor Rock, Jake Brown, and Ricky Wysocki on chase card, trying to make a move today to get themselves up on feature card for the final round. Let's get right into it. Hole 1 is 284 feet. There is a triple Mando right off the bat, with Obi on the left side, long and towards the right if you somehow make it over that fence. You're typically going to see a choice here: a flat backhand or a flat sidearm to go into the hill on the right side, hopefully shuffle down but not roll all the way out of bounds. Give yourself a look. That needs to sit. That's in danger of Obi, and he gets saved by the wall. Very lucky there. That shot was kind of loose. Very nice shot by Drew, and here's our first look at Codi Wood. Very solid looking backhand, hitting the ground perfectly. That's how you want to start the round. You know he's got to be feeling nerves, and to put it that close and not really worry about putting is what you really want to do here. Very good shot by TJ as well. What tree, Drew says. You know, there's something to be said about hitting a big putt in hole 1 for birdie. I think that instantly gets the blood pumping, gets the momentum going. I think Drew's going to go on a little bit of a tear here. And Anthony, a little bit of work left. He kind of got away with one there. If that wall was not there, he would be shooting for par. But instead, we got a birdie look. Let's see if he can take advantage. Nice and high in the chains, looking confident. Right, we started off round 1. Alright, and Codi with a little bit more meat on the bones than I thought he would have. Seems to be about 15-20 feet away. Not necessarily a tap-in. Cameras are on him. Hearted. We'll take a second to figure out where these guys are coming from. We got Codi Wood coming from Flagstaff, Arizona. So he is an Arizona local. Just a little bit of ways from this current course. And then we got TJ Grobman, who is coming from Sheboygan. Love saying that name. Similar distance to Codi. Solid looking putt. It didn't look too soft. It was just a bit low. I think that says a lot about him. I don't think he's going to have any putting struggles. I think if he stays confident in the way that he's throwing that one in right there, he's going to have no issue. Here we are, moving on to hole number 2, 415 feet. I think the most common play is going to be a flex sidearm straight up the middle and have it kind of flare in towards the hillside. You're going to see maybe a couple backhands out to the right and swing around those trees and kind of backdoor it. But by doing that, it brings the OB fence line into play, and throwing it out of bounds on this hole is not something you really want to do. Anthony showing us the flex line basically perfectly. It's hard to throw it much better than that, although I do believe he hit cage in round 1. Drew's showing that giant outside line, missing that lone palm tree. Should be good. Puts him about 25 feet looking at birdie. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're going to be out left, so you're not really going to have too much of a look for birdie. Maybe a long one to get it under those branches, but taking your par here is not a bad. Solid effort by TJ. If that had just slightly less angle, that probably would have been pretty close to the basket. Codi just laying that one up. He'll take a par. Oh my goodness, TJ. That has some spin to it. That thing floated in the air forever. Just high from Drew. If you guys don't know, Drew is also an Arizona local. He lives about 45, 50 minutes away from the course. So this is not one that he plays every day, you would say. Probably comes out here maybe once a month to practice. All right, looks like we have 3 pars and 1 lone birdie as Drew taps in with a driver. I learned my lesson to never do that. I don't know why it happens, but the driver seems to spit out way more than a putter. As we move to hole number 3, it's 360 feet and it seems like a simple hole. There's not much to it. Nothing really in the way besides this small little tree right there in the center. You're going to see typically either a straight shot with a mid-range or a putter right at it, or a hyzer way out right and have it spike in towards the basket. There is OB on both sides of the hole, but you're not typically going to really see it unless you really flip one over, as Anthony's actually going right for the out of bounds. And oh my goodness, he gets lucky for the second time in 3 holes. That probably should have gone out of bounds, but instead he gets a birdie look. That little gutter looking thing with the yellow poles is out of bounds. Drew showing us the hyzer line. Come on, Drew, get out of the way, man. As he parks it. I think that's typically going to be the most popular line. Cody Wood looking solid as well. And TJ throwing a really nice shot as well. So I think we're going to have 4 looks for birdie here. And Anthony has a downhill putt here. If he airballs this one, it's going to go probably 30, 35, 40 feet. Just low on the pole. Gave it the right height. And that's the issue with spin putting. I see a lot of the time missing left and right, but not necessarily missing high or low too much. And it looks like Drew will be our only birdie here, which is very surprising. This hole was playing a little bit easier than a few of the other holes at just about a third under par. Slam dunk. That was weak. I don't know if that's winning the 2025 dunk contest, but he'll take the birdie. We'll get to hole number 4, 381 feet. I think there's only one line here, and it's the giant hyzer around that giant tree on the right of the screen. Have it spike in towards the pin. But you don't want any sort of ground play. There is that OB line, although the wall is there to help. We've already seen it been utilized on hole 1, keeping Anthony in bounds. I'm hoping that we don't have to use it, but let's see. Just like he drew it up. And that is very close to the out of bounds line. There is a line that goes from that wall and it kind of cuts up towards the homes up there. Very good shot by Codi. He won't have much left there for his birdie. DJ put a little more angle on it than the other guys and almost puts it in for the ace. He should have about 15-20. And Anthony is looking like he's about 3 feet short of that out of bounds line. So he was safe. That was his birdie look. Just high. He'll take his par. There's the putt. Good birdie by TJ. That's got to be a bit of a confidence booster there. Get his round moving. Moving on to hole number 5. It's 386 feet. There are 4 Mandos you have to worry about, although the first 2 don't necessarily come into play too much, and really, unless you really shank one. The second 2 Mandos are where you need to worry about them. You want to throw a shot that typically lands in the center of them. You don't really want to go for this one unless you have to. You're mostly just going to want to take your par and move on. I think this is one of the least birdied holes on the entire course, so just taking par here is not a big deal. That's an absolutely perfect layup. From there, all you do is throw it under the basket right at the lock, or he has a chance to even go for that putt. It's pretty long, maybe a 50-60 footer. Anthony doing a little 50-50 action. I think he's right in between the Mandos. Giving himself at least a look. Through with a pretty easy layup there in between the trees. Codi doesn't want any part of it. I think TJ wants some of this. He's got that spin putt. Just low. Valiant effort. Those limbs that he had to put under are way lower than people think. Anthony missing low. He's kind of low, high. Can't really get them in. He's not happy with his current start. I believe yesterday he went 4 under through the first 5. Today is not the case. Hole number 6, you finally get to unleash a drive, 783 feet. It's dealer's choice. You can kind of throw it backhand, sidearm, whatever angle you want, as long as you maneuver those trees. You're going to land about 300 to 400 feet away from the pin, which is going to give you either a giant hyzer or a flex forehand or even a straight mid-range, depending on where you are. There is OB left and right the entire way, so you kind of just got to maneuver the trees, stay in bounds, and hopefully pick up your birdie as well. Drew is flare skipping way out left, very close to the out of bounds line, but from there he'll have a wide open straight shot. Codi unleashing the beast. Out on that left side, but he's not going to have that straight shot like Drew. He might have to throw a sidearm and have it come back out right. DJ was in trouble of going out of bounds, but that tree might have saved him. But from there, it's going to take everything to get up there near the basket. We watched Anthony throw it out of bounds left during round 1. Today, he was kind of going that way as well. It looked like he took a ton off it just to control the disc. But he'll be over here in TJ's territory where it's going to take everything to get to the pin. And barely in bounds for TJ. And he'll have a putt for birdie. Great shot by Anthony. Not a lot of people can throw that shot right there. This guy is definitely one of those people that can. Gets caught up by the tree. So he'll have around a 30-footer for a birdie. Not exactly sure. I think that went left side, but giving him the green flag, so he'll be in bounds. Probably looking at the birdie. And Drew's in a spot where you have to commit to this putt, otherwise you're missing low. And a little half-half there. There was like a little bit of a tailwind, so you either go at it hard or nothing at all. Solid catch by the basket. So Codi stays in bounds, probably because of that wall. It looked like he was very close to it, and picks up the birdie. I'm loving these walls. And an incredible upshot by Anthony. I was not expecting him to be that close. He'll pick up a birdie after a less than average drive, hitting the tree off the tee. And I love seeing that by TJ, taking the bag off to do the tap in. Can't tell you how many of those I've missed in my past. Always take the bag off, always take it serious. You don't want to make that mistake of missing the tap in because you were off balance. So we get to hole 7, 645 feet. This is a great 2-shot hole. You can't just unleash all your power. You're going to have to throw it short of that path and worry about that Mando as long as sticking the island on your second shot. A little bit less wind than there was in previous round. I think it'll be a lot easier to stay in the center. And that's close to the left side where it's going to be tough to attack the green. Anthony in a similar spot. You really got to watch out for that flare skip out left. Those trees on the left, they aren't trees you can punch through. They're trees that can slam your disc and have you take a big number. As we're playing some dodgeball out here. Drew with a giant skip, maybe a little bit too much. Also finding that same little area. DJ very low out of the hand. That's going to be in layup zone 100%. There's no going for it from there. He's going for it. No way. DJ, what a shot. That was incredible, dude. Hats off to you. That was fun to watch. I don't think I'm ever going for that from there. Bruce sticking the island. Right on. Looks like everyone had incredibly awkward lies, but 3 are on the green and 1's playing for par, so very good hole so far. DJ getting some local love after that putt. And I'll say it's not an automatic birdie if you stick this island. It's about 33 feet. I believe it's the length of a circle, maybe even a little bit bigger. But when you're all the way up against the wall, it seems like you're forever away from the basket. All right. Looks like we'll clean up there. We'll have 3 birdies and 1 par. And that's going to move Drew back to 1 behind Anthony with Cody Wood 2 back. Still pretty tight here up on the top. I got a random question for Drew here. I want to know what his favorite finger is. Oh, thanks, Drew. Okay, you can put it down now. And this is weird. Great transition by Terry Miller. As we move on to hole number 8, 360 feet. What a beautiful hole. This is probably going to be one of the last times you'll see this hole on camera. I was told they might be getting rid of this lake. So, who knows what that means, but just your typical beautiful island shot. Playing from up top, these guys are probably throwing putters or mid-ranges, maybe even fairways if they're feeling it. But typically going to be a tailwind, and all you got to do is stick the island. Not really much to it. If you do manage to throw it in the water here and not cross, you're actually going to a drop zone, which is about 100 feet in front of the tee pad. Just short out of bounds. I wonder if they're going to spot him there. And it looks like they will. Right in that little area, it's all concrete, so it's possible to hit the ground and just kind of slid back in the water. Very good shot by Cody. Solid 27-footer by Drew. And we actually missed TJ's putt, so we're just going to get his comebacker here. And that should be a couple easy tappers. And that one was the second most birdied hole in round 2. As we get to probably the least birdied hole. Hole 9 is 482 feet. All of the water is actually out of bounds, and we don't have the luxury of having those rocks before the water line right now. The water is a little bit higher. You're typically going to see a giant sidearm, or people lay up with backhand hyzers, or even a backhand flex over the top. Anthony electing the line that nobody else can do. If the wind gets a hold of it, he can push him all the way towards the pin for a look at birdie. And I think he's going to be kind of in between, maybe like 40 feet looking at birdie. Drew, we are playing the 2-meter rule, so if he ends up getting stuck, which he is not, he would have to take a stroke penalty and play from right underneath where the disc is over 2 meters. All right, so we had a few layups. I think Drew is really the only one actually going for the birdie here, but he got caught up in some trees. He'll pitch up to take his par. Just catches those limbs. He's going to have like a 30-footer to try and save his par there. We'll see if Anthony gets aggressive. I think that just kind of dropped straight out of the sky. I know he wanted all that one. DJ's drops as well. So he'll have to settle with a bogey. Anthony will get his par along with Cody and Drew. There was only one birdie on this hole, and it was with a guy I played with. Kyle Creekhouse decided to throw an insane shot, put it pretty close, and got his birdie. Looks like Drew will tap in here. And that's it for the front nine. We're going to continue here, but we do have both of the Wysocki brothers 6 under through the front nine. Both Zach and Ricky. Moving on to hole 10 at 651 feet. This one is kind of tight pretty much the entire way. We have that OB right and left, and a newly added Mando right about here on the right side of the screen. So you got to avoid those, land in the fairway, and if you're in the center, you should have a wide open upshot looking at the pin. I know a lot of people are trying to get aggressive off the tee and making this as short of an upshot as possible. Anthony going right at the Mando. Misses it left. Or makes the Mando. Sorry, he missed them. On the right, you know what I mean. He missed it on the right side. The left side. I mean, whatever. You guys know what I mean. And I really like this play by Drew. It really doesn't take a lot off the tee to get into birdie position. He's just making sure he makes that Mando, and he'll have an upshot to the pin. Camera's tracking left, but the disc actually flipped and went straight up the fairway. Very good shot by Cody. And TJ has a pretty dang powerful sidearm, but what I did notice on one of the previous holes is his grip is a little awkward. I haven't seen it before. He has kind of a very split grip in between his middle and pointer finger. As Drew's taken the line that you could never take before the trees were taken out of the course. Giant spike hyzer over around everything. That should be about 30, 35 feet looking at birdie. Don't think that's going to be turning for him. But that is a long look, about 90 feet if he wants it, maybe a little less, 80-footer. DJ not throwing a stable enough disc to have it get back to the edge. Anthony playing the hole perfectly. Drew wants that one back. If I'm Cody and I'm TJ, and this is my first time on, I don't know if it is or not, but if this is my first time on Terry Miller's disc golf coverage, playing with Drew Gibson and Anthony Barela, I wonder if I'm nervous or if I'm really enjoying the moment. Let me know if that's the case for you guys. You guys got to let me know in the comments. If you guys were on the card with Anthony Barela and Drew Gibson, you guys nervous, or are you guys enjoying the moment and having as much fun as possible? Looks like these guys are doing maybe a little bit of both. And with Drew's miss, Anthony's going to go ahead and take an extra stroke on him. We'll get to hole 11. It's 759 feet. Really the only play here is a giant hyzer out over those rocks, but don't keep right because all that's out of bounds. You got to land in the middle to give yourself a wide open look to the pin. There is a couple mandos that you really need to avoid. If you throw the tee shot too far left off the tee, you're going to be stuck throwing either a giant hyzer over all the trees or some super sketchy low shot. You just want to avoid that left side off the tee as much as you can. And this shot looks pretty perfect. That's exactly where you want to land. I don't know if you want to hit the out of bounds first, but that landing zone, you cannot argue with that. He'll have a wide open shot to the pin. And Cody's found kind of that awkward landing place. He'll have to throw like maybe a super low flex shot or a giant spike hyzer over the second trees over there. And that's what I would say a perfect shot is. This is that low shot. That tree on the left is the Mando. You have to stay right of it. He's thinking it's OB. We'll have to see in a sec. And you can see how much easier of a shot that is than the other guys had. DJ's is even easier. Oh no! I think the tree might have saved him there. That disc looked like he was flipping up. Even riding straight a little too much. Ultimately a good result though. He'll be putting for birdie. Drew's giving Barela the green flag. In past, it was the actual sidewalk up there that was out of bounds, so all the rocks were safe. But this year, it is a line up there, which is much tighter and very easy to go out of bounds. Very solid looking putt by TJ. That is one of the more spinnier putts that I think I've seen in a long time. I love seeing that. Like the nose up spinner. Those are always fun to watch because they just float and float and float, and that's when all the big putts come. It's like a Simon Lizotte style or a, I don't know, James Proctor, I guess. That's a little bit of that going on, but moving on to hole 12, 427 feet. This one seems like it would be pretty easy. All you gotta do is throw it up there and stay in bounds, but a little bit of headwind can make this one of the hardest holes on the course. Makes it hard to even reach. Seems like we have a little bit of headwind right now for these guys. And Anthony will go screaming past the basket, having it fly low the entire way. I'm not sure if that's something he was trying to do. Drew is taking the more common route you see, just kind of throw it out right, and if the disc flies back, stables up, and gets towards the pin, it's okay, but if it stays right, you're going to pitch up, take your par. Codi with a smooth looking toss. This one looks like it's going to be pretty close. Yeah. Looks like TJ is right out. So now he's inside the circle, I think. Almost. And excuse me, Anthony is way closer than I thought. I thought he went way past the basket because it was such a low line off the tee. Thought it would maybe get some more ground play as well. And with that birdie, Anthony moves to 16 under, 3 strokes ahead of Drew. The other guys will clean up and we'll take a long walk all the way to hole 13. I don't know, let me say a 5, 6, 7 minute walk, something like that. It's pretty decent. Get your cardio in, like Vista needs that. But hole 13 is 405 feet. You're gonna see probably all giant hyzers over the top of everything, and hopefully just past the last tree, but just before the basket so you don't splash in the water. Another play is potentially going straight up the middle, keeping it low and having it skip the entire way. Looked like Anthony played that pretty well. He will have a 35-ish super scary putt. Not sure what happened to Drew's. Did that go out of bounds? Someone niced him. Just kidding. I don't believe in that whole nice thing after you throw it. I don't know about you guys, but it's definitely not a thing. Nothing can change your shot after you throw it. DJ going for that low line, which personally I do. I enjoy that low line. A lot less dangerous things can happen.
Be a scary putt.
Ooh. Get some chains. Someone's dog loved that putt. Drew said thank you. And you guys can see this is a great angle showing how close that water actually is behind the basket. It's pretty much from everywhere a scary putt if you're short of the basket, because you're going to be staring straight at the water, especially because it's a raised basket as well. You can't really give it a soft bid. As we move to hole 14, 605 feet, you're typically going to be throwing a hyzer out to the right of this first tree and have it skip back in towards the fairway right about here. And from there, it should be just a putter up shot. Going to want to avoid these trees on the right and avoid the Mandos and the OB. Gosh, there's way more OB on this hole than I think. I mean, I rarely see it come into play, but it's literally everywhere now that I'm looking at it on camera. Anthony throwing basically the most ideal shot you can throw. Won't be much more than a putter for him. Drew throwing that shot that a lot of other people like to throw. Seems to be the most high percentage shot. And that's a new one. I don't think I've seen a forehand here. Looking like a nice shot from TJ. So I think everyone will be in birdie range. TJ might have a little bit trickier of a shot, but it's not impossible. We did have that left to right wind, and it looked like the disc flipped up, and when the wind gets a hold of that flight plate, it's bye-bye, especially on a more neutral or even flippy disc. As you'll see, Drew fight that by throwing a deep hyzer, so there's no chance of that disc flipping. And that one comes all the way back left. I don't know if he liked it out of his hand, but hey, it's better to be lucky than good. Online, but that's really not really makeable from over there. I've been over there and the ceiling is just too low with the basket being raised. It's not really doable. Good putt by Drew. Move him 2 back from Anthony for the next 15 seconds. Hole 15, 741 feet. There is a left to right wind on this hole, which makes it a little bit trickier for those people throwing rollers. They're going to want to go up into that fence area pretty much immediately. But if you can get a nice one down, it'll go pretty far on it, which is what you need off the tee. And from there, you're going to want to throw a hyzer around or under everything. There is one guardian tree that seems to collect all the discs and not really give yourself a birdie. Anthony hits the only tree that's in the way off the tee. And it's a big tree. I'm not saying that that's like easily avoidable. It is a giant tree easy to hit. As I think Drew just went straight through it. And that is cutting a little too far left. In trouble of missing the Mando or going out of bounds.
Well, went around the first Mando.
Saying he went around the first Mando, which is great because he'll get to take it from there. But if he misses the Mando, he has to go to a drop zone, which is a little bit harder of a shot. And that's picture perfect. Cody Wood, certified awesome roller thrower guy, man. That's right where you want to be. He'll have an open shot from there, looking straight at the basket. That's the second hole in a row. TJ's throw his sidearm straight in the ground. There is that left to right wind on both of these holes, which was probably the reason why it was pushing him down. And this looks a little loose. It needs to get down. Luckily hits the tree and kicks straight down instead of kicking left out of bounds. From back here, I don't think even Anthony Barela has enough distance to reach it. So he'll have probably a 50, 60 foot, 70 foot look. That needs to sit down. He'll find himself out of bounds. Gonna have a 25, 30 foot look coming back though. Oh no, and there's that guardian tree I was talking about. He'll have to chop off a few inches from his height to even get to his disc, and even from there it's going to be a tough straddle. Wow. He sure made that look easy. This is a very difficult hole. You're missing wide right. And TJ's been missing low pretty much all day, seems like. Maybe the nerves will get to him. Solid comebacker by Anthony. Taking his time, doing his routine. He knows every single stroke out here matters. Gotta be the nerves. It really has to be. I know at home when he practice putts, he's making that 10 out of 10 times for the most part. You know, 99 out of 100 sort of deal. Solid putt by Codi. And TJ will take a triple bogey after a few errant shots and a few errant putts as well. And I also love something about this course. You see how close the sidewalks are, and people walk on those sidewalks every single day. And when you're out here practicing, they're nonstop. So you get a ton of practice with people moving behind the baskets, with a bunch of dogs barking or birds chirping. I love getting that practice in. We get to hole 16, is 390 feet. It's a bit of a tricky one though. You got that OB left and right with a giant hill that loves to produce rollaways for your disc. As we saw at the Memorial Championship, this was a hole that took Anthony's lunch money. He hit that tree on the left and kicked him out of bounds, and ultimately went on to lose by Gannon. If you guys missed that coverage, make sure to go back. It's also on Terry Miller's Disc Golf YouTube channel. Don't want to miss it. And the shot is looking fantastic, and it's down. This hole is so mean. So mean. There's no chance that gets back in bounds. Almost even into the water even. I mean, what? That thing was like 10 feet away from the basket towards the end of its flight? It's alright. Throwing it straight in the ground at Vista will produce, as long as it's on hyzer, a very long tee shot. And for him, he'll have a look for birdie if he wants it. That needs to sit down as well. It's interesting to see these low backhand shots. I think a lot of the time you're going to see like the higher kind of turned over backhand shot to the left of that first tree that's right on the tee box, and that'll cause your disc to match the angle of the hill, cause it to sit down, but I understand. The low shot always keeps it in bounds. Well, Anthony has a chance to save par. It's playing like a 70-footer probably. This is just left. You know, he's upset with that one. Just a bad break. That's not really something you need to hang your head on. Really nothing he could have done. If he throws that hole 10 times just like that, he's going to love the result of having it right next to the basket. Codi with the smart pitch up, take par. As we get to hole 17, which is a hole I have never seen aced, which is incredible because I've emptied my bag out here multiple times trying to ace this one on camera. No avail. It's a little tricky though. It's only 243 feet. The island is kind of small, and your disc loves to jump around and even roll. I think everyone's going to take their most overstable mid-range or even fairway driver and have it just spike in right at the ground, hopefully landing just short of the pin. There's no way that just happened. We just watched two of the most unfortunate breaks back to back. Drew's playing that perfect. I think you typically want to land just short of the basket. It eliminates all of the jumpy skippiness to go out of bounds. Anthony throws to that same spot. Those rocks behind it are out of bounds. You will have to go to that drop zone. You see it to the right of the island. Gives you about a 40-footer. Yes, dude. Such a good save. It's always sketchy going for this one because if you do miss it, it goes out of bounds pretty much every time and you end up taking a 5. But he saved par there with a very good putt. Great looking putt by TJ. He might have had some twigs or something in his way, causing him to straddle. Low left corner pocket. I'll take the birdie. Getting to hole 18. We've done it. Final hole. I love this as a finishing hole. A lot of stuff can happen on this hole. You see people taking giant numbers here, or even easily two-stroke swings. You're going to see either a giant hyzer over the right side of the giant tree on the right, have it come crashing in, or something straight up the middle. There is an OB line long, which makes it a little bit more difficult. And if you do throw it out of bounds at any point, you are going to a drop zone. DJ almost throws it in. Great looking shot by Codi. That takes a ton of control, especially in that right to left wind. Thankfully, it sits down and doesn't go out of bounds, but you know he would like to have that one back. But that one did not matter when it came to feature card for round 3. But it did matter for his round rating. Codi Wood finishing at -6, which is an unofficial 1034 rated round, which is great. That is a very good round for Codi Wood. And TJ had a little bit of struggles finishing +1 with a 976 rated round. And as these guys tap in, we have some action on the leaderboard here. We had Ricky Wysocki come out and shoot one off course record at -13, 1092 unofficial rated round, which is insane. Then we have Anthony Barela coming with -10 today. Great round, although he did miss a bunch of putts. We'll see if he can clean those up. Then we'll have Drew Gibson again, along with Kyle Creekhouse. We'll catch you guys in the final round of the Shelly Sharpe Memorial.